many people are talented, but there's a crazy statistic within the Screen Actors Guild that only 1% of the members, I think.
It was years ago. It was summer and I just gone out and bought this little wispy white summer dress and I was going to meet my friends. I had one incident, but this...
The majestic Helena Bonham Carter, Miss Kate Blanchett.
We saw her just in that clip.
Divine.
Yes.
Divine. We have Rihanna, who everyone knows.
Crazy.
My excellent daughter.
It's very nice of you to say.
Yeah, you got to know your strength.
She wasn't too nice, but that's a fantasy character. It was nice people, with the exception of a vampire that I played. She was right.
Just gently sort of just dragging.
Pulling a baby, yeah.
Violet looks a bit wide-eyed,
Yeah.
For some lunch when I came back to discover his...
They couldn't figure out my ethnicity, so I would always go out for exotic, because they did start, getting a lot of roles in auditioning. The finale and say goodbye and watch the characters, so I was really happy.
The show had a satisfying, awesome...
And for me, it was great because I got to go back and be in Los Angeles, and so it was a lot of texting or phone calls. And at the beginning of our dating as well, Nick and I knew each other, so I guess it's kind of not fully like the show, but I was in New York and he was...
Invite me to dinner.
What?
Play in London, West End, and Art came up to me afterwards, and of course I knew him particularly from Usual Suspects as the right. And years ago, Chris McQuarrie came to me in a...
I always dance with you.
We did understand. Did you really recognize? Never spoke poorly of him. And I was a real tough little girl. I did understand that it didn't have to do with me and all. And I hear it now. I was young and the folks turned.
Yeah.
At the same time, I was an American actress playing a British woman. New York person.
You know what I mean? So the danger of it, I don't really relate. But I grew up in the city, so I don't even know. For me, I'm as much of a city girl as I can't really say anything about that, especially.
You ship them yourself?
She is coming back very early on in season 3, and
Already isn't that smart.
thing that I love to do privately, for any acting job, I would always journal. Or did you love acting? That's been my love forever, and writing was always something. Oh, you look so different, which either means greater off screen.
Who people say that to you?
It's why either get oh my gosh, you're so much prettier in person, or get really, really sucked into it. I have no, idea that I'm above it. I know that it would take over my life, and all I would do is look at other people's holiday.
And it is an heiress that has pretty much everything, and something happens to her. She gets in a bad accident, and she gets amnesia. Literally is very similar to a TV show. We've seen each other grow up.
Yeah.
I'm the godmother to a couple of Vince's kids. We
told me the craziest stories about just how different life was back then, and it seemed a lot.
I did something that really stopped. It's hard to moisturize it, which is why I used to
mystique, and then how to get pregnant, and how to protect themselves.
The way to do it. We want to empower women to understand what's going on with their bodies and what.
I'd say you're going to ruin her whole idea of princesses. And I met these kids at an airport. It's been interesting because kids sometimes recognize me. Their parents really do. And I'm always like, oh, no, I didn't swear anything you want, sir. And my uncle went home and told all his friends, call my dad, sir. Car lot with my uncle when my uncle was little, and they were, buttering him up. And they're like, oh, yes, sir, no, sir.
I hate that it's working.
Kids. What do you mean?
Was also almost your birthday twin, because my kids were, so my daughter for her 3rd birthday, we asked what she wanted, and all she wanted was a brother. He wasn't due for 3 weeks, but apparently
To me, the thought of waking up to watch it seemed like I was just gonna give myself a panic attack if I did that.
I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, so I slept, and my publicist said,
I didn't know how much I was taking. It ended up being something I did for 20 years. I wasn't present. I knew that something was, I wanted to be a writer because that's what my parents are, writers, and they're incredible writers.
I was getting ready. I was shooting a film called The Aeronauts, which is with Eddie Redmayne, that is coming out at the end of next year.
They are challenging everything in life. They're looking at everything. And these kids have so much information.
Yes.
So much more than we have. So they're thinking and talking.
The show, it centers around this woman named Billy, who on paper, she seems to have it all. She's a wonderful wife, she's a loving mother, she's got 2 great kids, but she just can't stop thinking.
Ever. I remember my first week, I came into my trailer and there was a massive bouquet of flowers. And I didn't have a card or anything. And I was like, was that from you? And he's like, it's me and Martin. I was like,
He was so committed to the audition process that I underwent very intense physical training. I was on a very restrictive diet.
I play Frances Shay, who is the little sister of Frank Shay, who was part of the Cray twins gang, I suppose, the firm.
sure. I play Zoe Barnes, and she is a reporter for the Washington Herald. And she basically strikes a deal with Kevin Spacey's character.
He was slap happy grandpappy on these like live radio comedy. And when he was 14, he went around the country playing at speakeasies, the trumpet, and then he did live radio.
Well, I have a lot of friends that are actors. I've definitely been stereotyped, typecast, put in a box, what have you.
Like, man, the more selfless we are, the happier we are, and the